Over the years, I think one of DC's biggest missteps with the Superman franchise, at least recently, has been the surprised aging up of Superman's biological son, Jonathan Kent. However, in DC's newest issue of Action Comics, Superman and Kent and his wife Lois Lane are finally able to have a conversation reflecting on some of the nuance behind what it's like to have a son rapidly age before your very own eyes. My name is Arakko Braddock, and today let's go ahead and dive deep into Action Comics 1047 to see just how different Superman's world is now that he's liberated Mongul. And let's also go ahead and reflect on some recent Superman status quo revelations as well. But before we get any deeper into Action Comics 1047, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel if it's your first time checking out our content. And since you're already here, why not go ahead and click that like button as well. Now, let me introduce our creative team on Action Comics 1047. This entire issue is written by the excellent Phillip Kennedy Johnson with artwork from Riccardo Federici. My apologies if I didn't pronounce that correctly, as well as the colorist Loughridge, and the entire issue, in fact, is lettered by Dave Sharpe. The cover is drawn by Steve Beach. There is also a backup story in this issue that is also written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson, illustrated by David Lapham, colored by Trish Mulvihill, and lettered by Dave Sharpe. So without further ado, I wanted to go ahead and show off some of the interior art from Action Comics 1047. Here is a look at the beautiful cover for the issue from artist Steve Beach. And I want to show off Riccardo Federici's artwork here because it is so incredibly detailed throughout the series. If you notice, with some comic artists, I tend to group them in different categories. I really find that Riccardo Federici's art works best as a sort of like static, basically medium of comics. So really, in terms of the artwork, what this has to offer is just really beautiful details, honest facial expressions, and just incredibly precise artwork that really makes this issue kind of stand apart from some of the contemporaries. Also, I know that this issue does not take place in the barren, desolate lands of War World that the previous Superman arc took place on. But this issue really has the chance to recontextualize Federici's art for kind of your average metropolis-bound Superman story. Thankfully, I think it still works pretty well in this context, and I really enjoy that our author Phillip Kennedy Johnson is still allowing Federici to explore some of the seedier parts of the DC Comics universe as it pertains to Superman. These pages in particular featuring Metallo are very kind of dark and very gruesome and illustrated incredibly well to boot here. Also, the kind of relationship between Lois and Clark is finally emphasized after we've spent so many months with Superman stranded in War World. This issue gives so much context and so much insight into the relationship between Clark and Lois. This is an incredibly nuanced take on the couple, and I just can't believe how in-depth some of the writing here gets from artists or from writer Phillip Kennedy Johnson. These moments between Lois and Clark really have a special element of humanity and show that this is a couple who is very, very deeply in love throughout the issue. Also, the kind of emphasis on Lex Luthor and Metallo is very interesting. I can't wait to see how that starts to develop as the issue progresses. And Johnson is so good at writing those really dark elements of Superman, but these dark elements do not overshadow the story or the sense of hope. There's kind of a big celebration and a little bit of momentum in the air now that War World, has been liberated. But there's so much nuance in this script. There's even a moment where Superman is discussing what the political ramifications are for, liberating a planet per se, which are incredibly interesting. So the backup story in the issue is also very clever and very beautifully drawn by artist David Lapham. Really what this issue is, more or less, is a big kind of congratulations for our Superman team, united with the new version of the Authority coming back and rejoining the DC universe. A lot of this is just kind of celebration for all of the big ways that, Superman has finally returned to Earth, and really, I think, celebrates all the best parts about the franchise and also highlights some of the things that Phillip Kennedy Johnson has done right in this Superman run. Also, I've said this multiple times already, but I just cannot underestimate how much I appreciate the fact that Johnson is really devoted to fleshing out and expanding on the role of Superman and Lois in past issues to really kind of come to a conclusive whole here. I was worried that Johnson was not going to be able to really kind of shift gears and explore what a more traditional Superman story is like, but Action Comics 1047 completely dispelled some of those fears and showed me that Johnson is able to incorporate some of his great level of nuance no matter what the setting of the Superman comic book is. Riccardo Federici also delivers really great art and shows me just how versatile of a creator he is in the first place as well. And if you read the entire Warworld saga, you're going to want to check out the David Lapham backup story in this issue as well. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on Action Comics 1047? Did you like this issue? Because I personally loved it. I can't wait to see where Johnson is going next. I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I will see you very soon for some Marvel comics. See you soon. Bye.